Greetings, family, and welcome to another segment of Sound Mind. My name is Bryant Collier. I am your host, and I am just excited to say Happy New Year to you. Listen, I have missed you greatly, and we are back at it. The world has already been crazy in 2021, but one thing remains sure and certain that the Lord is good and Hope TV is here to supply you with all the things you need, all the programming you need to get through these dark and challenging times. I would be remiss without saying, giving a shout out to our executive producer, Dr. E. Dewey Smith Jr. Thank you so much, sir, for your vision of Hope TV, but more specifically, Sound Mind. We salute you and thank you for this opportunity to talk about having Jesus and a therapist. Family, I am so excited to see you again and that you're here joining us. Listen, I need you to do it. It's the top of the year. You already know, hit that share button. Your friend circle, your family, group me thread, whatever you have, hit that share button. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, whatever platform you want to give it on, we are streaming on it. And we want them to get this information. I have a surprise for you today. You have been so great for 2 seasons with Sound Mind. Dr. Smith as the original host, and then he brought me in during season 1. And you have been faithful and so supportive, and I am so grateful for that. We have had so many therapists come on and just give us insight. And so I want to continue with that. But I have a little treat for you today. Our guest today is Miss Teresa Pryor. She is my supervisor at the House of Hope Atlanta, serving as the director of events. But she has a rich experience and love for mental health as I do. And so I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about herself, but she will now be joining me permanently as a co-host of Sound Mind. So family, please welcome to Sound Mind our new co-host, Miss Teresa Pryor.
Hey, our Sound Mind audience. How y'all doing out there? Happy
Hey,
New Year to
Teresa.
everybody. Hey, Brian. Hey, Sound Mind audience. How y'all doing out there?
I'm so happy to see your face. Y'all, this is going to be an amazing season to come. Season 3, we're going to be hitting it. And I just, when I kind of coerced her into being a a co-host on the show, I knew he would be rich with information. So I just want to kind of start this off as we always do. Teresa, can you tell our audience some things about yourself?
Oh, sure. Well, I'm a native of Atlanta, Georgia. That's the first thing. I can't actually say born and raised. I was born in Georgia, but I've been in Atlanta. I just got caught. I got born somewhere else. Mama got caught somewhere else, but I was supposed to be born here anyway. So I'm a native of Atlanta, Georgia, and I've been here all of my life. Even though I'm a church girl, been in church all my life. Love the Lord. I've been serving the Lord long as I can remember. Um, but I am yes, I know you enjoyed that, Brian. But I am a veteran. I was served in the United States Army for 9 years. But I've been in ministry most of my life, which has been I'm only 22, but I've been in ministry for about 25 years. Now I don't know how you do that, but okay. Yes, yes. But anyway, I have served in many capacities in the church. And so I have been around church people. I've been around the whole organism of church most of my life. I am a certified event planner. I am now studying to get my master's in a MBA with emphasis in project management. So I'm really excited about that. But what I love is people. What I know is that Teresa exists to be an expositor of the Word of God because I love God's Word. But I also like to bring hope to people, internally and externally. And I like for to see people become all that they can be. And so I think because of that, I try to push people to be, to do, try to help people, support people to do whatever they can, whatever they're called to do. And that's what I'm called to do, to help them and to support them do what it is that they're called to do. So that kind of fleshes itself out a lot of ways in my life. So you'll see me, planning events because that's what somebody else is supposed to do. Or you'll see me, kind of mentoring somebody because that's helping them do what it is that they're supposed to do. Or you'll see me encouraging somebody because that's what I'm helping them get done what it is that they're supposed to do. But I know at the end of the day, I'm called to help people do what it is that they are called to do. And so I'm
Well,
excited to be here because of that.
Well, I'm excited to have you. And family, I know you've already seen the graphic, so you know what we're going to talk about. This is mine, a show about mental and emotional health. So Teresa and I just felt like it would be a great way to get to know her and for us to talk with you about the best thing our therapist has ever told us. And I know we're not going to have time to touch it all, but we're going to just share some nuggets. But first, I kind of want to just open up the conversation about the stigma of therapy in the Black culture and then the Christian culture as well. Teresa, can you just talk to me a little bit about your experience with those issues?
Well, first of all, for me personally, I came from um, what you would call, I guess, a very closed family in that, we didn't talk about our business now. We kept our business within the family. And so you didn't tell nobody nothing and you just kept everything within the household. And so that in itself kept me from expressing myself even with my friends.
Mm.
We had to a certain way, we had to do it a certain way. And so when you walked outside, and it wasn't that I don't think they were trying to necessarily all the time, it was not it wasn't negative. It just was that, when we walked out, you get it together. When you come outside that door, you put your coat on, you got it together, and nobody knew what you were necessarily going through. And though
Mhm.
that may have they may have the spirit of that may have been positive, it had very detrimental effects for me
Mhm.
personally,
Mhm.
because it caused you to cover up and it caused you to keep things and it caused you to hold on to things and hide things and not share some things that you sometimes needed to share and get some clarity on some things. And so I went years and years and years and years with this stuff that I didn't even understand and afraid to ask people a question. So
Mhm.
I think that, and I think a lot of Black families were like that.
Mhm.
We just were raised to keep it to you keep this stuff, this family business. I'm
Mhm.
gonna tell you
Mhm.
something. When Greenleaf first came out, I remember saying, "Don't tell all our business." That was my
Don't tell
first
all
thing.
our
That's the first
business.
thing I said. Don't tell all our
Yes.
business. That was the first thing I said because that's the way I felt. But you know what? You can't fix something unless you confront it. You can't fix things unless you talk about it.
Ooh.
So us holding those things in would never help us. And so it took
Mhm.
years before I even got help because I was holding things in. And so I
Mm.
think a lot of times, especially in the black culture, and then when you talk about the Black church, it goes a step further because we hold these things in and then we spiritualize things. And that's probably a whole nother segment. But we we spiritualize in a way where they're not being addressed. I'll just say
Mhm.
it that way. So
Mhm.
you put this pseudo spiritualism over it,
Mhm.
but you're
Mhm.
not addressing the issues. And
Mhm.
so you're jerking and shaking and falling out and doing all of that, and then you get up with all your issues and take them all back home. So
That
just
that's so good. And you know, my background is apostolic, Pentecostal. So that's what we did. You get in the
yeah,
offering line, they lay hands on you, they supposed, you fall out and you get up with the same issues. And it's
yeah,
almost like we have not connected that there is a part of our emotions that is directly correlated in sync with our spirituality.
abs-
It goes
absolutely correct.
together.
But for so long, we were not taught that. We weren't
Mm-hmm.
taught that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
literally, we were taught that those things were separate. Even though we were told we were tripart being, we were not taught how those three pieces all come together and how they all interrelate one with the other. And they do
Mm-hmm.
because they make one being.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So let's get into it. Do you want to start, or you want me to start off with the best thing your therapist ever told you? What,
Woo, woo, you
you
go.
want to
You go
go
first.
first?
You go first.
I'll
No,
go
no, no,
first.
no, no.
Okay,
I'm gonna let
cool.
you go. Yep.
All right. So I was living in Dallas at the time, and the therapist, the counselor on staff, she was also my personal counselor. And I was going through some identity issues. For me, I've always wanted to be discipled. I've always wanted to, someone to mentor me and pull me under their kind of wing. And so I was just battling with some things I was facing in that area of my life, like searching. And I told her one day, I said, I am just lonely here. Like in ministry overall, not particularly in that job, but just overall in life, I felt lonely. And Teresa, after I finished talking for 20 minutes, got tears in my eyes, I just thought she was about to woo 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 me. She said, the walk and the calling of service is lonely. He will give you peace and he will give you rest, but he will never remove the cross. I said, what was that supposed to make me feel better? I was like, that's a load, but it was what I needed
Yeah.
to hear. Because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of times with therapy, we see shows like Iyanla Vanzant, and I love what she does. I love her ministry. But
Mhm.
it's condensed 3 or 4 days, a week or two is condensed into a 60-minute
It's like,
show.
yeah.
And
Right.
the real
Exactly.
work of therapy takes weeks and months. And
We
so
don't
we
really
had
get to
built
see that.
up.
Yeah.
No, we
Yeah.
don't get to see that
Yeah.
at all. And it had just
Yeah.
built up.
Yeah.
And so when I got to that moment, my counselor knew, my therapist knew everything that had happened. And so when we got to that moment, she says, oh, let's open the shades. Let's bring the light out. I know you've been tired, Brian. I know you felt lonely. This is something consistent. But what I've learned is what she learned about me is that I was okay with being in the service part of ministry, but I didn't want to feel the burden of it. And that was so eye-opening for me because it taught me that this load that I felt was unfair is just normal.
Is the burden. It is what it is. It's a part of what this thing is. There's
Mm-hmm.
no way to do what Jesus did, to carry a cross
Watch your voice.
without feeling what you felt. There's
Yeah.
no way. It's like, how do I pick up a big tire without it being heavy? That can't
Mm-hmm.
happen. How do
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do I lug this cross on my back and it not be heavy? And I not get
Mm-hmm.
stuck. And I not get stuck maybe with some of this wood and get some splinters in my back. And I mean it's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's not
But
possible.
remember, we don't connect spirituality and emotion
With
together.
yeah, yeah. And that's physical. That's just the physical part of it. That's the physical part of it. Because I'm thinking
Yeah.
about Jesus and I'm thinking about all he did and all the wonder and the glory. And he healed people, and everybody knew him. Everywhere he went, people recognized him. All of those
Mm-hmm.
things. But he
Mm-hmm.
also, had. Did you see his back? Did you see him going up Did you see him going up that hill with the cross? Did you see? I'm just wondering
We could write
because
a
those
whole
are the parts.
nother we could write a whole nother Bible about what he emotionally went through carrying the
Yes,
cross.
yes, yes.
That could be
Absolutely,
a whole,
absolutely,
and didn't say a
absolutely,
mumbling word.
absolutely,
Now,
absolutely,
most of us can't
absolutely.
go to
Now,
work and carry our cross and not say a mumbling word. And by the way, hit the
you don't
share
have
button. Somebody needs to hear this right now. Go ahead and tag your friend, tag your coworker.
to.
You need to hear this. You got to carry your cross and deal with that. That's
And
just the burden of what you're called to. Teresa, go.
and sometimes not say a mumbling word.
Mm.
Share, share, share.
So then, if that wasn't enough, in the same session, she told me, she said, you have to find peace in accepting that people don't have what you need.
Whoa.
I said, what do you mean? I'm supposed to
Uh-huh.
be mentored. I'm supposed to be poured into. I have
Yeah.
all of these people around me.
Yeah.
I have expectations
Yeah.
of them. And she said,
Yeah.
stop having expectations of people. If Dr. D. Monique was on here, she was saying having an expectation is a setup for your next therapy session. Dr. D. Monique, I'm just shouting you out real quick. You go, Teresa. I'm gonna let mine go. What would you like to share?
Am I supposed
You
to be
share.
am I supposed to be taking notes today too?
No, this is not supposed to be you taking notes. No.
Oh, okay. 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 Well, it seems as if we're gonna I gotta come back to that one. I gotta write that one down. Okay. So I'm sitting talking to one of my mentors slash counselors, and she asked me her favorite question: "How are you doing?" And I started telling her, and I said, "Oh, I'm doing really good. Doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this." No, I'm sorry. Her favorite question is, "How are you?" I'm sorry. She said, "How are you?" And I said, I'm doing well. I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this." And so I said, and then I got this going on, and I was really excited about the things that were going on, and and this, and this, and this, and this, and so she said, you got a lot going on there. But I
Mm.
asked you how you were doing. I
Mm.
asked you how were you,
Mm.
and I said, okay. She said, let me tell you something that I think you need to know in ministry. She said, because you're really, really busy. She said, but let
Mm.
me ask you a question. Were you called to do things, or were you called to people? And I said, I mean, the things that I do are for people and blah, blah, blah. I just started. She said, no, ma'am. She said, because I want to tell you something. When you get too busy for people, you've gotten too busy.
Say that for somebody in the back of the room one more time. Just say that for somebody in the back of the room one more time.
I said, ma'am. And she said, sweetie, when you get too busy for people, you're too busy. We
Mm.
are in the people business.
Mm.
I'll never forget it. And so
Mm.
there's nothing that I do, and not just in my job, but there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing that I do ever where I'm too busy for people. Because I think
Mm.
people are our most precious commodity.
Mhm.
And in my belief of that, I handle them with care.
Mm, that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
Can
So
can
that
you
was
share?
one.
No, keep going.
No, I was just saying that's one that has sat with me and helped me always keep people in the forefront of everything that I do. When I my business, which is called the name of my business is called Collabo, and it comes from the word collaborate because there's a scripture in Ephesians that talks about a threefold cord not being easily broken, and I just believe that you got me, you have my client, and what they don't know is that the third person is the Holy Ghost. They don't know that, and I don't have to tell my clients that, but I take very good care of whoever is in front of me, regardless of what
Mm,
it is that I'm doing with them. It doesn't matter if I'm playing. It doesn't matter if you're my client. It doesn't matter if I'm preaching. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's my responsibility because you're a person. You're you're
mhm,
you're a precious commodity to me, and I'm never too busy to ensure that
mhm,
you're okay.
mm.
Yeah.
That's good. Teresa, can you share with our audience what? Because a lot of times when people think about therapy, it was funny when I first started with my new therapist last year. When we had our first session, I told her I didn't want you as my therapist. And she looked at me like, well, why did you ask? And I was like, why did you like sign up with me? And I was like, well, God said, like, when I scrolled past your picture, he's like, she's the one. And I'm like, no, she's not. Um,
Mhm.
but in our first session, in the first 20 minutes, I just went through my whole history. Like I tried to give her every trauma, every experience, my whole background. And she said, you are more open than most people are when they first start. And I said, yes, because I don't want to spend my time and waste your time with you asking me prodding questions when I can just tell you. Can you talk about what vulnerability and the importance of vulnerability is in therapy?
Yes,
Yes,
because you
because
have to be
you have
vulnerable.
to be vulnerable. Mm.
Um, but the thing about
But the
that
thing
is you
about
have
that
to
is you
find
have to find
a place of
a place
trust
to trust.
with
Mm.
your therapist.
Mm-hmm.
I too, the person that's my therapist, I would not have chosen her as my therapist. There's no way in the world. But I know that she's the person that's supposed to be my therapist. The
Mm-hmm.
way I got her, I felt like God led me to her. And
Mm-hmm.
then as we began to talk and share from the very beginning, it was just little things that for me said, yep, that's it. That's the one. And because of that trust, I felt, okay, I'm getting ready to start talking. I, but that piece has to be there because you
Mm-hmm.
have to feel like you can share whatever and whenever, with them. So
Mm-hmm.
that vulnerability, you have to be there because you'll keep going around in circles if you're not honest, if you're not
Yeah.
open, if you're not
Yeah.
truthful. You're never
Yeah.
going to get to the root of it if you're not open. So you have to feel that sense of trust so that you can be vulnerable. Um, and sometimes that's the problem. I mean, I think first of all, let me say this. Um, we have normally approached therapy as a fix it after something, a reaction
Mm-hmm.
after something has happened. When
Mm-hmm.
really therapy should be approached as preventive.
Mm-hmm.
You should do it
Mm-hmm.
before. Really.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we talked about, cultural differences and issues and things as to why, we just don't, we don't. But it really should be. It should be like going to the doctor. It really should
Mm-hmm.
be. But what for our culture, we have, we do it as reactionary. Okay. So because of that, normally it's something that drives us to a
Mm-hmm.
therapist.
Mhm.
And again, and that's not bad, as long as we get there. As long
Mhm.
as we get there, because I think it
Yeah.
is so needful. I tell people all the time, I'm walking around now with a doggone in my hand that says therapy, therapy. I
Mhm.
believe in a therapist. Um, you know, like I said, you have something that happens in your life. I had something major that happened in my life that drove me there, but I see the benefits of it. And that vulnerability piece is so key because, again, you're not going to get to the root of things if you're not honest with them nor yourself.
Mhm. You don't have to be crazy. It's not that something's wrong with you. It's like going to
Nope.
get an oil change. Every so
That's
many
right.
miles, you just need to go. Now, I'm going to say this out here because somebody needs to hear this. You haven't been to the doctor in 4 years. First, go to the doctor. Go get your mammogram, go get your prostate check, go get your blood pressure check, go get some blood work done. And when you finish all of that, go sign up for a therapist
So
because
true.
all of it's needed. We go to church Sunday after Sunday and we get all of our soul fixed, but God cares about your physical body as well. I think that says that in Luke or John, that he cares about your soul and your body. Well, your mind
That's
is
right.
connected to
That's
that.
right.
And it
Let me
does.
say, and not just we go to church. Say we go to church, we go to work, we go to the grocery store, we go anywhere we want to go. And so you go wherever you want to go, but you need to know that you need to go to the doctor. You
Mm-hmm.
need to make sure that you have a good therapist. You need to do exercising. All those things are needful. And so
Mm-hmm.
just like we make time to do the things we want to do, we need to start incorporating other things too into our lives because they need to be a needful thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Listen, family, I don't know if you haven't shared it yet, share it right now. Tag somebody, copy the link, post it. However if you need to learn how to tag, just message me in the comments. I am going to show you how to do it. But our time is out for today. We're going to continue with part 2 next week with the best thing our therapist ever told us because we have so many more stories we can share. But we want to just welcome Teresa Pryor as a new co-host to Sound Mind. If you don't see my face, you'll see her face. The other way, her face. And we are excited about what's going to be happening. So thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you back here in the same place, same time next week. Until next time, take care and take care of your sound mind. Have a great week.